Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining me today. Happy Tuesday. I hope all is well wherever you are. It is a beautiful morning here, Southern California. And today I'm doing part 2 of my talk. I started a few weeks ago about soul plans, soul space, soul purpose, past lives, and we'll just take it from there. And I also wanted to share today, last year was a huge transformation for me, and I wanted to share how that kind of all ties into my own soul purpose and plan, and show you just how I discovered it all and how it all seemed to fall into place and what I learned from it. So I'll give you a moment to come on in and let me know you're here. And if you can hear me loud and clear, please let me know. I have to do a sound check. But I am not here to convince you to change your beliefs of whatever it is that you believe. I am here to just share my knowledge, my experience, what I've been through, and I don't know, I'm prompted to do that, so that's what I'm doing today. So, hi Karen, welcome. Yay. Let me see here. Oh, you fell in love with your crystal. Good. Yay. Hi, Marianne. Welcome. Thank you. Marianne, I might have something for you today. If I remember right, it might be in the mail today. So check with me later today, okay? Hi, Angela. Hi, Susie. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, everybody. Can you hear me all right? Loud and clear? All right, good. Thank you. So a few weeks ago, I did a little talk on soul plans, soul purpose, soul space, past lives. This is kind of just an ongoing conversation. And like I said, I'm not trying to convince you of anything. You have your beliefs, and I respect that. For whatever reason, I am prompted to share this with you. So that's what I'm doing. Thank you, Angela. And I need to share with you my journey from last year because it was such a huge transformation and how it all kind of ties in together with my past lives, my karma, my soul plan, my soul purpose, and all that stuff too. So I have a hard time seeing, this lighting is really weird, so I have a hard time seeing the comments, so we'll do the best I can. So if you see me struggling with the comments, that's why. Okay, so let me give you a little bit of background about, before I talk about last year's transformation, because you need to know a little bit of background before, just to tie it all in. Hey Ron, welcome. Hi JM, welcome, welcome. Hi Victoria. So let me start with the background, then I'll get into the transformation, and then I have a couple of questions to throw at you to see what you think. So we'll have a little discussion afterwards, but I'll try and keep this as brief as possible, this transformation part, because I can really drag it out for a while. Last year was a big change, and there was a lot involved. So when I was 6 years old, my mom and dad divorced, and the circumstances in which it happened created a very difficult relationship with me and my mom. And that continued throughout my whole life. And it caused me a lot of emotional problems. And it caused me a lot of anger and a lot of grief and a lot of uncertainty and a lot of fears, all those things that a lot of people go throughout their lives. So I was 6 years old when it started. And my mom's and mine relationship have been rocky since I was 6 up into just in my 40s. When I started my spiritual journey about 7, 8 years ago, my mom and my relationship started to get a little better. We weren't really good, but it did start to improve to an extent. And I knew at that time, when I started my spiritual journey, is when I started to see past lives that I'd shared with her. I started to see many of my own past lives that I shared with her and others that didn't have anything to do with her. And I realized that I've got to clear this up this lifetime because I don't want to carry this forward to the next lifetime. So I was aware of that, but I didn't know how to go about it, because you can't force something that's not there, right? You can't force love, you can't force respect, you can't force certain things that have had many, many years of negative implications. So I was aware when I started my spiritual journey that I have some work to do, and I've got to get this resolved with my mom this lifetime. And about that time, I was in my mid-40s. I was also going through my own personal transformation of finding my soul purpose, following my path at that time. And that's when I became very involved with crystals and meditation and my own self-healing. I started my spiritual business about 2014, more or less. My timeline is just, I can't really remember all the timeline. But that has a little part in this whole transformation last year too. So that's a little piece of the puzzle. I started the business. I was doing crystal therapy, crystal sales in a little shop in town. And it was very small scale. I was doing it part-time, working full-time job during the day, 8 hours a day, going to my shop in the evenings, doing therapies, doing classes, doing meditations. On the weekends, I would have the shop open for sales and all that. So I was very, very busy. I wanted to be a full-time crystal healer, therapist, teacher, but I didn't feel I had the means at the time to support myself. So that was a part of the process as well. Okay, so with my mom and my relationship, over the years, we've had many, many struggles. Very angry, very hurtful, very it's just been very, very difficult. Last, let's see, October, now fast forward, October to 2016. My day job was, my job for the most part was pretty good at that place. But there was a change. There was a huge shift at the place of employment I was at. And it was very negative all of a sudden. And I could see. And this is when I was really, really involved in spiritual work. And I could see that things were changing and I needed to leave there. I still felt like I couldn't leave a full-time job because of the money, you know. But I put it out there to the universe, please help me find a way to exit this job and do what I want to do full-time. So I did that in October 2016. All right, so last year, the year of transformation. Hello, everybody coming in here. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Thank you. I'm talking about last year's journey for me and how it ties into soul plan, soul purpose, soul, you know, space, past lives, and all that sort of thing. February 2017, February 8th to be exact, I was at work, my day job, and I got a phone call from the ER emergency room saying, your mom's here, you need to come down. I didn't know what the problem was, and we still weren't a really good relationship. I mean, it was okay, but it wasn't great. It wasn't, you know, ideal. We were on a friendly basis, I should say. But I was annoyed because I had to leave work and my day was disrupted, and I'm thinking, what's the problem? They wouldn't tell me on the phone what her problem was. I had to go down there. So I left work and I went to the ER, and she was in a car accident, and I'm thinking, oh my God, what happened? Well, she drove her car through her garage, through the wall, and she was in there getting sewn up. She had some physical injuries. That's all that they thought at the time, but it evolved from there. And so I spent all day in ER with her. And I was really kind of annoyed, thinking, okay, she's not going to be able to handle all the insurance phone calls and all this and that. I'm going to have to take a few days off work and resolve this for her. Get it, her car was stuck in the wall in the garage, and thankfully the garage was detached. It's not in the house, so it's a separate building on its own. So that was one blessing. I had to take a few days off work to start the phone calls for her because she just was not able to handle it. I was angry and frustrated because I was just, put out by it. It was like, I have to deal with this, but I don't want to have to deal with this. I wasn't thinking of her well-being. But that's part of the learning. The universe pushed my learning into high gear a lot in a very short time. And my mom experienced a lot of pain and a lot of sadness last year. And a lot of transformation on her own, too. But I started the phone calls. There was many insurances involved. There was the city involved because they deemed the building unsafe to enter until it was fixed. That caused the car not being able to come out and be repaired or evaluated. That caused a lot of ripple effect. I was on the phone with all the insurance companies, contractors, doctors, continually having to take her back to have her wounds checked and redone. What turned into a few days off of work turned into several weeks and even months. And it was a continual daily challenge for me because I was on the phone with all these people every day trying to get these things resolved for her and trying to get her to her appointments and trying to get her to wherever she needed to go and taken care of because she lived alone. She was, at the time, she was 86 years old, and she was quite independent and well before all of this. But shortly after the accident, she started getting this great fear of being alone. So I started looking at alternative places for her to live, maybe a senior community where senior apartments where there's, she was in a duplex. So I was posing that to her. She didn't want to leave her home. But things started to happen with her health really rapidly in just a few weeks amount of time that I noticed that she needed more care than just moving her to a senior apartment. So during this time, I'm still trying to work hours that I can at my day job. I had to completely stop seeing clients in the evening and stop the classes and stop at my shop and just close it for now. I just couldn't deal with, there was not enough time in the day to do everything I had to do. And it got to a point where her health actually started to decline, and her physical and mental health so quickly that she needed to go into an assisted living. And she finally came to grips with it and agreed. And we're just talking weeks after the accident, just weeks afterwards. And so I had to find a place, a facility to get her in quickly because I couldn't stay with her. She couldn't stay with me. It just was, I had to get her into a place quick. So I was going from place to place, trying to find the right place, the right fit, the right cost, it just was another cycle of things I had to do during my day, along with all the insurance things and the contractors, and with her having to move to an assisted living, she would have to sell her home to pay for it. So I had to start thinking about that. It was in the back of my mind. But there was one day that really shifted everything. And her friends, she had several friends that would call me and advise me and tell me I need to do this, tell me I need to do that. And that was just weighing on me too, because it was just like, I'm trying to do my best. I'm one person. I'm trying to handle all these things coming at me. And they're giving me advice, and some of her friends were actually, it was quite sad. some of her friends were trying to get into her bank accounts. Some of her friends, so I was dealing with this on top of everything else. Some of her friends, once they found out she was going to move, sell her house, and move to another place, would come into her yard and take her items. There was one day when that shift occurred for me greatly, is one of her friends came to her yard and said, I want this particular thing out of her yard. Can I have it? And my mom is sitting there in her living room crying, saying, you know, they don't care about me. They want my stuff. That broke my heart. That's when I had compassion for her. That's when I felt the love for her that I haven't in 40-some years. And I hugged her and I held her, and I'd say I get a little emotional just talking about it right now. I told this person, go away. You know, you're not welcome here to take her things. Go. You need to leave now. And I went in there and I held Mom and I told her I loved her, and we cried together and we released so much stuff. So much baggage that I've been holding on to all these years and she'd been holding on to. And we healed. That was the beginning of the healing process. The huge, huge healing process for both of us. And from then that's when I could see all the things that she was experiencing, and I was being put out because I was having to do all this stuff. But now I saw, okay, I had compassion for everything she was going through. She was having pain. She was having to leave her home. She was having to not take all of her possessions. She was having to, you know, detach from all the things that she had and go to a new place. It was just a huge thing that she had to go through. And I finally was able to see what she was experiencing and feel for her and love her. And it was that I was still struggling with my work and my keeping myself together, my life, because I had a lot of meltdowns and a lot of, you know, it was just a very, very tough time for me. And we did get her moved and we got her home sold, and she adjusted, and the more it's been, the closer we have become. And I feel like we have cleared that karma that we have held on to for so many years, even past lives. And I feel like I was given a second chance. I might not have had this chance if she didn't go through this whole thing. She had things to learn throughout this experience as well. But I was given another chance to clear my karma, my, you know, relationship, that I was holding on to, all these things for all these years. I was able to forgive her, forgive myself, forgive the experiences that we had in the past that caused all this. I was able to see more clearly. I was able to see more clearly that, you know, we waste so much time on things that don't matter. Like, I wasted years of anger, years of frustration. I wasted years of impatience and resentment, and just because I didn't understand it, you know, I didn't get it. But because I'm on my spiritual journey now and I did experience all that, it made sense to me. It kind of all fit together. It made sense. I wish I didn't have to waste all that time, but there's a reason for it. And it brought me to where I am now. During that time, I had to renew my lease at my shop. There was no way I wanted to keep it where it was. It was not in a good place. I didn't have time to relocate because I was dealing with all her stuff. And there's just not enough time. So I just turned in my lease, and I was trusting, and I said, I've got to just move on. I don't know what's going to happen from here, but I'm going to trust. So I turned in the lease. I packed up all my things for my shop, stored that as well with many of her things here too. And so that was another big part of this transformation for me at the same time. Also, during this whole time in February and March last year, I could feel I was being prompted to move along on my spiritual path, on my journey. It was time for me to exit the job, the day job. I wanted to anyway, but I was being forced to in a way because I just didn't, I could not, I had to take off so much time. I was not giving it the time that it needed. It was not fair to the employer that I was missing so much. It wasn't fair to the co-workers that I was missing so much. So I came to terms with saying, you know what? It's time for me to leave that job. And I turned in my resume in resignation in April. And the next day I felt at more peace than I have in many years. I knew right then that was the right choice to make. I didn't know what was on the other side. I didn't know where I would be. I didn't know how things would change. I didn't know where I would be going. I didn't know any of that. I was trusting. I knew I had to have a plan where I could take Mom to appointments because those were ongoing for many, many months. Many doctor's appointments, many, you know, and I had to spend a lot of time with her. So I just trusted. I closed the shop. I thought, well, I'll try and focus on distance healing sessions. I will focus on distance sales, and I'll just see what happens. That's when my online presence was rather low. And shortly thereafter, I saw a shift. And that's when a lot of you started finding me for whatever reason. I don't know. It's part of the grand plan. That's when my online presence started to shift. And it was very apparent to me that that's what I needed to focus on at the time was distance healing, distance sessions, distance teaching, distance meditation, distance, all distance. So I just kind of followed the prompts that the universe gave me. And in itself, it created this community which we have together. It created it organically. It brought us all together. Do you hear the hawks? There's 2 of them up here. Wow. That's pretty cool. But it brought us all together for us to learn together, us to share together, us to grow together, us to experience together, and us to make a difference together. And I think we've done that, and I think we do that. And I keep following these prompts and this guidance that I'm given, and I keep following the path. When I talk about soul plan, soul path, now that I look back at this whole experience that last year has given me, it was a huge year of transformation, huge in so many ways. I can picture myself, my mom, my soul family, my soul group up in the soul space before I came to this lifetime. And I can picture us planning this. I can see my mother and I having this discussion. Well, you've got to deal with this. We've got to resolve this in this lifetime. So I'm going to help you with that. And I can see my dad over here saying, yes, I'm going to be part of it, but I'm going to be on the side. I'm going to be your support system because you need a support, because you're going to have this conflict over here that you've got to resolve. But we're not going to stay together, my mom and dad, because we will have our own things to learn on ourselves, on our own, but we'll deal with that. We'll learn a little bit from this experience, and they did do that. But I can see the whole discussion up there now. And I can see why it happened the way it did. When I talk about soul space, something I talked about last time we were together, some of you might have seen that video, some of them maybe not. Soul space is what I believe is the space before life and the afterlife. And that is where you recover from lifetimes, and you realize what you've learned. You talk about what you want to learn in the next life. You help your other soul family members. They help you devise a plan to come down here again, or wherever you end up, to achieve the learning experience that you set out to achieve. Again, I'm not trying to convince you that this is, something you have to believe in. It's something I believe in, and it's something that I'm prompted to share with you. Past lives, we've had a little discussion on that, and it kind of all ties together. I've had experienced many past lives through meditation and hypnosis, and I've seen many, and I've experienced, I've journaled them all. I've learned many things about myself and why I am the way I am at the moment in this lifetime. It's helped me clear some issues that I was carrying on from, whatever else back then. It's helped me to understand and learn many things from many lifetimes ago. It's just been a truly an amazing learning experience, and it's something that you can all achieve, you can all tap into if that's something that you want to learn to do. And it's just, you do learn something about yourself. You do learn something about where you're going and why you're doing the things you're doing. Last year was a huge transformation with all that happening. My mom and I, we're fine now. We're great. I can tell her I love her and mean it. And I visit her often because I want to now, not because I have to. Her time is limited now, and I'm making the most of it. I am grateful that I had this opportunity to clear things up with her. I am grateful that, she's in a good place. I'm in a good place, and it's resolved. I'm grateful for all the learning that I experienced from it. I feel I'm being pushed yet again, even further, and I don't see the end result yet, but I feel I'm being pushed into a direction that I am following. I am going with it. I'm going with the flow. That's something that I encourage all of you to do, is go with the flow. When you're given something, you're given a direction, you're given a little insight, you're given a little, okay, let's see what that avenue takes you, where it takes you. I feel like I'm in that again. I don't think I've ever been out of it for the past few years, but I think I'm still being pushed into another direction. I think it has something to do with writing and teaching, and where it will lead me, I'm not sure. It's interesting. I started that book, my book, last year, not last year, but October, that same October that I wanted to leave my day job, I started my book, and it took me it took me a full year to finish it. Mainly because I just didn't have time to work on it the first 6 months of last year because of all the craziness that was happening. But I feel like I'm prompted to share a lot of things that I've learned through spirit, through divine guidance, through experiences, and I think that more and more writings will come from that. But I'm not sure where that will go. But last time I was talking to you about past lives and soul space and soul purpose and all that good stuff. See, I wanted you to kind of see, this kind of all came full circle for me. I know some of you joined me in the last talk about this, and some of you didn't, but what are your thoughts on past lives, soul space, soul purpose? What are your thoughts on that? How do you feel about it? What do you feel, what are your beliefs on it? Please share with us. I think we can all learn from each other. Brianna, I can repost the first one in this, when we're finished here, I'll post it in the comments of this live feed so you guys can go back and watch the first one. It was a few weeks ago, probably 3 or 4 weeks ago actually. So, yeah. Marianne, you just finished a blog just before I came on, and divine timing and connection. The blog is similar to what I'm speaking about. Wow, I think we all come together for a reason. And another question I'm going to ask you in a few moments here has to do with people coming and going. But I think we all have plans of coming here for a reason, even down to the very time, even down to the very place where we are, even down to what we will connect with and discuss. So I think it's all related. I think it's all related. I think a lot of us probably are soul family, soul connected. Some more so than others, you know. Terry, you believe, yeah. Brianna, you'd like to learn about Akashic Records. We might be getting into, maybe we'll get into a little bit more deeper discussion on just that sometime. But, yeah, so true, so true. Yeah, I think we're all, I think honestly, everything happens for a reason. And I think the reason is what we planned. I do believe that we have a grand plan, each of us, but I do believe that sometimes we have free will, and you know, we have the choice here on Earth. We have choices, and if we decide to follow the plan, that's great. We do learn a lot. If we choose to not follow the plan, then you might have to work on it next time, you know. No coincidences. I agree with that, Ron. Ron, I know that you do a lot of past life work too. Please share whatever you would like to about that as well. Anybody else who does past life work, please let me know what you think, what you know, experience, what you believe. Marianne, you have chills? Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, I know. Chills are always an indication to me that things are right, or things that are I should just stay completely away from. And you know the difference. You know if it's a good chills or a bad chills. And yeah. Oh, Kat, perfect timing. Yes. There's a lot of layers too. There's a lot of people involved in our lives. A lot of layers and a lot of people involved. Okay, so this is a question I wrote down. I wanted to ask you. I didn't ask this one last time, but I'm sure we all do, but think of somebody who's come into your life and then has exited. Did they teach you something? Did you learn something from that experience? Did you wonder why they were just there for a short time? Short time could be days, could be weeks, could be years, could be months, but they're not with you for the duration. Leslie, believe let's see, right, must be soul family. Yes, I think a lot of us are soul family to an extent, some closer than others, yeah. I think we actually, more than likely, have a purpose together. I think that's why our group has grown the way it has. I think we have a purpose together to help more as a group effort, collective group effort. Helping them how? I'm not quite sure. We'll see how it unfolds as it unfolds, you know. Susan, I think it's hard for me to see the lighting here. I think we are all struggling with situations at the moment. Yes. The point in time, yeah, you know, it's true. We have times of crazy change, and then we have times of just floating by, and then we have times kind of in between, right? Last year was a crazy change year for me. Now I feel like I am going through some changes, but it's all pretty, it's not as traumatic as last year. So, yeah, it makes a difference. I think even talking about this kind of thing helps each other too, helps somebody realize that, okay, we all have challenges. We all have difficult times in our lives. And sometimes they're very, very difficult. And sometimes we have to step back from that and see what we can learn from it and pull it apart, dissect it piece by piece and see why it happened the way it did, why we had to experience it the way we did. And sometimes that's hard to do right when you're right in the middle of it, when you're in the middle of a very challenging situation, it's hard to see. And sometimes if you hold on to that for years and years and years, sometimes you're blocking, you don't want to see. Maybe you don't want to deal with it. Maybe you don't want to address it. Maybe you don't want to revisit it because of the fear or the sadness or the grief or whatever, or the pain. And that's part of the learning as well. Yeah, Debbie, I agree. I think certain people come along to for a short period of time to teach us a certain lesson, maybe small or big, whatever the case may be. And sometimes they just poof, they're gone as quickly as they came into your life. Do you look at the lessons involved with those people who come and go so quickly? It could be a loved one. It could be some stranger. It could be a family member. It could be somebody that you've known all your life and you just completely disconnect at one point. Or maybe it's somebody you've completely known all your life and they just come to your life at a certain time later in life and you do connect. Maybe you're part of their journey lesson and maybe they're part of yours or vice versa, Sometimes people come and go as little reminders of things. It's interesting how that happens. It is. I believe it's part of the plan for all of us. The grand master plan that we have written. I believe that it's part of our plan to grow, to evolve, to learn. To learn what we need to learn. We all have different lessons too. We all have different lessons to learn. I might have mastered something last time, but I haven't mastered it this time. Well, clearly I didn't master that with my mom, that love, before. So I had to master it this time. I had to get it right. So I believe now, next time, I'll have something else to work on, what I haven't mastered yet. When you think about ascended masters, those who have achieved mastery, that's why they're called ascended masters. They are ascended, they are the masters of what they have accomplished in their lives. If you think about them, their purpose, their teachings, their message is all divine love. It's something to think about. Something that we have a very hard time achieving. And when I say divine love, I mean unconditional love for all beings. And that is difficult for many of us to achieve. So if you think about the Ascended Masters, they've achieved that. And they're there for support and guidance, just like the spirit guides and the angels and the creator. They're there to help us along the way and to help us learn and to help us grow as well, to help us achieve that state of divine love. I believe that's our biggest lesson of all. I don't know, what are your thoughts on that? I know I'm way behind on comments here. Unconditional love, yes. Learning how to speak up for yourself, Rosemary, that is a big, big lesson. I had to do that myself. Matter of fact, I had to learn to speak when I was 6, and from then on, because of my experience with my mom, I put myself in a box. I closed myself in from the world, from everybody. I blocked myself off. I wouldn't talk. I wouldn't share. I held everything in. It caused me a lot of emotional and physical problems. And I held on to that stuff for years. I mean, 40 years, you know. That's when I was able to start releasing it and healing it. But yeah, there's a lot of things that we have to learn still. That's why we're here. And if we can help each other do that, that's great. You know, if we can help each other accomplish what we need to accomplish, I think that's awesome. Yeah. Yes, you too, Rosemary. Yeah. Yeah, you agree, Marianne. Okay. Terry, what you're learning now, you fight. There's something you just get under my skin. Yes, sorry. It's hard for me to see the comments today because of the lighting. I wonder if I move over into a different light, it might be a little better. But, you know, that's true. You see a mirror of you, Terry. We are a reflection of what we project. What we see in others is a reflection of what we are, you know. So if I see something in somebody else, it's something that I probably need to look about in myself, basically. Might be something I need to resolve about myself. So, and not all lessons are big. Some lessons are small, some are easy obtainable, some are huge, some are not easily obtainable. You know, there's a wide range of degree of lessons too. Okay. Trust is a hard lesson to learn. I agree with that. Absolutely. Trust is a hard lesson. I had to, basically I was kind of forced to trust my journey last year because I didn't have too much time to dwell on it. I still have trust issues with my, you know, things that come up every occasion, you know, on occasion, not as much. It's getting better and easier. But trust is a big one. If you can just trust it and let it go and let it happen, usually things will unfold the way they should if you let them happen that way. But we want to keep in control, and our ego wants us to do this. And well, what about, you know, that little thing in the back of your head is your ego saying, well, you're not going to be able to do it that way. You need to do it this way. Yeah, trust is a big one. Angela, I do that now in a box. Yeah, I hope you can find yourself out of the box, Angela. Try and find the light out of the box. The box we put ourselves in is not a fun place to be. So I can completely relate with all of you who have put yourself in a box. And I hope that you can start that process of trusting and allowing. And it's not easy work. It's work. It is not easy. If it were easy, you know, a lot of this is not easy. So I hope that you can find yourself out of that box, Angela. Take a day at a time, but do what you have to do to find your way out of the box. Yeah. Mother Teresa. Great example, Maria. She is a great example of an ascended master. And she was filled with unconditional love for every being. And I've got chills just saying that, which just is a validation. Yeah, great example of unconditional, somebody who projected and had unconditional love. So, yes. Yeah. Hi, Melissa. Welcome, welcome. I know, Aisha. You know, I was so shy and scared, and I held my truth so many years. My journey has been an ongoing learning experience for me. When I started the spiritual path is when I was able to start healing things and addressing things. And it's not been easy, though, that too. I mean, I would never have dreamed ever of talking to people like this. Never. No way. No how. But I was prompted, I trusted the process. Again, it wasn't easy, but it's taken many years to get to this point. But I had to go through a lot of layers of things that I had to experience to get here, to do this too. And that's true with the courses I teach, that's true with the meditations I do and host and create and talk about. All those things, we're all learning. I can just see it. It was all learning blocks, and it all just kind of built on top of each other, on top of each other, on top of each other, and more and more and more and more. Yes, Terry, when a person gets under your skin and you don't see it in yourself. Yeah, sometimes sometimes we forget too to look within. Sometimes something happens and we're caught in the moment, in the physical moment, and we react in a physical way. Sometimes it's after the fact. We can, when we're settled down, and we can step back and say, okay, I understand. This is why this happened. Usually that's more easier to see when you can step back after the moment. When you're in a moment of an emotional moment, whatever the case may be, it's hard to see those things. It's hard to see what's going on, and we don't necessarily can come to terms with it really right away. But later down the road, and the more you know, the more that you experience it, and the more you're aware of it, the more that it does become easier to see in a shorter amount of time. Does that make sense? I don't know. I'm just speaking as it's coming, so it's like, Melissa, try to see the good in people. Yes. That's another lesson too, isn't it? Because there's a lot of crazy things that happen on our earth, right? There's a lot of tragedy. There's a lot of control. There's a lot of ego. But those that are causing these things have their own path, and they have a lot of things they need to resolve and work on and learn. I'm not saying it's acceptable what they do. I'm just seeing it in a different way. And of course, tragedy is a hard thing to be part of or see or experience. And I'm not saying that that's any less than it is, because it is a very difficult time. But I do see that, okay, the ones that cause it, they have something they need to resolve within themselves. And they have not found that. What are your thoughts on that statement? That's a heavy statement. Karen, have trouble with confidence in yourself? Yes, I've dealt with that too. I've dealt with that too. Maria, that's where you stand now, trusting in the divine, and everything's going to be okay. You know, when we trust in the divine, things tend to fall into place much easier than we could have made it happen that way. That's what I have seen. So, hi Eileen, yes, watch the replay. Yes. Oh, thank you, everybody. Thank you, thank you. Love and light, love and light. Yes. Brenda, you can say I'm not doing well. I feel confused, stuck, lost, alone. Yes, Brenda. It's difficult. I know. I had many years like that. It's difficult. You've got to take one day at a time. You've got to find something to be positive about. You've got to go find something to be joyful about. You've got to find something to be grateful about, and build on that every moment of every day. And it's a process. It's a process. Then when you start to see more positive things come, then it kind of opens your awareness. When your awareness is kind of stuck, it's hard to see. It's very difficult to see why, how, whatever the case may be. But when you get out of that stuck mode, you can see what you needed to learn. You can move on from it. So focus on those things right now. Those of you who are stuck right now in the box, focus on positive thoughts. As hard as it is, do it. Change your thoughts. Say, you know what? I feel fantastic today. If you're not feeling it, go say it anyway. Say it every day until you do. Find something to be grateful for. There's so much out there to be grateful for. Find one little thing to be grateful for every single day. Send a blessing to somebody else. Do that and build on it, build on it, build on it. Let's see here. Terry, believe animals such as dogs, cats, horses are earth angels from God, totally have unconditional love. I agree. Animals teach us unconditional love. I totally agree with that. Animals have it all figured out. They've got everything all figured out. I believe that animals have a soul just like we do, and they choose to come down in a form of an animal. What are your thoughts on that? Great love, yes, Jill, great love comes out of everything. Love and light, yes. It is worth the work. It is worth the work. It is true. It is worth the work. When you get to that place where things that used to bother you just fade away, it's worth the effort to resolve it. It's worth the effort to let it go. It's worth the effort to heal it. Hey, Tony, nice to see you. Nice to see you. It's a work in progress. Yes, I like how you say that, Isa. It is a work in progress because it is a continual journey. There's always something, you know, I still have things I've got to learn. Something's thrown in my lap all of a sudden. I'm like, oh, good grief, here we go, you know. So it is a continual journey. Yeah, I've resolved a lot, but I'm sure there's a lot more I've got to deal with. But it is a continual journey. And I mean, if we did learn everything we needed to learn, then why would we be here? I don't know. That's something to think about as well. You know? That makes sense, Terry? Okay. Yeah. It's hard to make decisions with emotions getting involved. That's true, Maria. That's true. The emotions, we do need to honor them. They're part of us. It's part of our physical makeup. It's part of our physical being. We do need to honor the emotions that we experience. It's part of what we, you know, experience. It's part of our learning process too. But once you pass that emotion, that initial emotion phase of anger or sadness or whatever the case may be, then step back and look at the whole picture of it, of whatever caused it or whatever continues to cause it, and see if you can resolve that in some way. Come to terms with it. Forgive. Sometimes it's just simple as forgiving ourselves for whatever reason. Sometimes that's as difficult as anything else. forgiving ourselves. Do you use Chris's a lot while dealing with these issues for yourself? Chris's, I'm not sure what you mean, Karen. Chris's a lot. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. Yeah, Leslie, they're people who cause tragedy by their actions, must be deeply hurt to, yeah, so, and to be so full of hate. Yeah. Yeah, it's a heavy conversation, and that might be something that we need to address even more so sometime. But yeah, they've got to be so deeply, you know, that they must have some deep karma that they have not resolved, that it's a carryover from past lives. Maybe they were in a traumatic situation and they're on the other side of it now. It's hard to know what's causing their issues, but they've got a lot to deal with. They've got a lot to resolve. They've got a lot to heal. And it's, you know, it's up to them if they want that. And many don't. We've seen many don't heal and resolve their issues that they have caused. Yeah. Fake it till you make it, Aisha. Yeah, that's right. That's right. You know, yeah, so that's what I say when I say keep your thoughts and your words positive, even if you're not feeling it. Absolutely fake it till you make it. Convince yourself. Convince yourself. I had to do that. I was in depression. I was anxious. I was panic attacks. I was all those things. And I was in not a very good state of mind before my spiritual journey started. And once I started learning that the positive, saying positive words and keeping my thoughts positive, that really made a shift for me. And it really did change things for me. And I was doing that with the gratitude work all at the same time. And I didn't have much, but I was grateful for what I had. And that made a huge difference. And just being grateful and saying positive things, even though I wasn't feeling it, it really shifted my energy. It really did. So say it until you believe it. Say it until it changes to be true. Think it until it changes to be true. Keep it all positive and pure. Keep it all positive and pure. You know? So if days I don't feel like I'm not energetic, I'm feeling kind of like meh, I'll say, you know what? I feel great today. I feel great today, to try and shift my energy until I feel great. You know, it's ongoing. If this is not something that stops, I have to continually keep positive thoughts and words. I have to continually do my gratitude practices. I have to continually trust. I mean, it's an ongoing, you know. Karen, and yes, I've found crystals work for a lot of these things, a lot of support. Crystals support us in so many ways, plus, you know, nature, plus other healing modalities. Absolutely. Eileen, great advice. Grateful for our paths have crossed in this group. Yeah, there's a reason for this group. There's a reason. I had no idea. I had no idea this would happen when I closed my little shop. And I am so very grateful that I'm able to share and talk and, you know, express. Yeah, Ron, I like how you put that. You have to get things right with yourself. Right. We have to focus on ourselves. Yes, we have connections with each other. We have connections with our family. We have relationships. We have friends, we have coworkers, we have all these people that we intermingle with all the time. But our main mission, concern is to try and get things right for ourselves. That might sound selfish, but if you don't take care of yourself, how can you help others? I say that often. If you can't take care of yourself, how can you help somebody else? You've got to help yourself. You've got to help yourself. That's not to say that you can't go take care of your kids tomorrow. No, you do that. You still do that. You go still do your, help your family. Be with your family, friends, but you've got to take care of yourself. You've got to take care of yourself. You've got to get things right with yourself. You've got to be true to yourself. You've got to be true to yourself. Don't hide who you are. Be your true self. Express what you think. If people respond or not, be your true self. Don't hide behind the walls or the box that you put yourself in. It's not a fun place to be. Be your true self. We're all unique and different for a reason. We all can contribute different things for different reasons. So be your true self. And stand proud with who you are. You should be proud of yourself. You should love yourself. I don't know. This is just all coming. It's just like blah. Sometimes I get on a roll and I can't stop. Lauren, it's such a lonely journey. Well, you have us. All of those who are feeling lonely, you have us. And those of you who want to speak to others on your journey, and you don't feel like you can reach out to somebody else and just talk, go to my group, Crystalline Sage, and request to be a member. That's where you can talk to others like this. You can become friends. You can talk about spiritual things. You can talk about things, challenging things. You can talk about things that you can't talk about with other people. There's not a lot of discussion in there lately, but I would like to see it become more of a discussion group like that, where you can talk about spiritual journey and even physical, earthly journey issues that come up, and how do you deal with them? Just somebody to talk to. So, yeah, join that group and start a conversation. You might be surprised how many people feel the same way, and then you can connect, and then you become friends, and then you have a support system. It might be part of your path that's written. Eileen, I believe we're here to learn from our past lives and mistakes. I believe that too, Eileen. I believe that we learn from our past lives. I believe that we have learned, and things are resolved and things are okay now. But I believe that we are continually learning from things that we've done this life, Karen, when something is thrown your way in your lap, you're not supposed to say good grief, Debbie. No, I know. When something is challenging, it is very difficult, and it is hard. It's hard to deal with. You've got to process it. You've got to process it when you go through challenging times, and you've got to allow things to happen. You've got to allow things to the emotions. You've got to process things, and you've got to learn from things. And it is hard when challenging times come to be positive. It's true. Last year when I was going through this whole thing with my mom, I was very challenged with that. Even though I knew, I was very challenged with that. But because of my continual practice with it, I was able to pull myself out of what could have been a deeper, heavier energy than what was already there. So, I mean, yeah, not to put any fluff on challenging times. When you're going through a challenging time, I'm not saying just, oh, it's fine, and just, yeah, you do have to process it. You do have to let your emotions flow. You do have to allow it to go through the course of it. Try to be positive with the things that are around you still. Try to be positive. Try to find the things that are positive with, in your immediate area, and try to continue to give thanks for things in your immediate area when you're in a challenging situation. To try and keep your vibrations higher, so you're not dragged down deep into something that it's harder to get out of. Leslie, I believe that animals, I think the animals had the choice of coming down here. I've seen some past lives where, I know some of you might think I'm nuts. I've seen a lot of my past lives, and one of my dogs was like was my child. Yeah, was my child or my little brother. My child or little brother, I can't remember. So I feel like you have a choice of what you want to experience and how you want to experience it. My opinion, I'm not trying to convince. You have to come to that with your, your own conclusion on that. Yeah, Eileen, it's hard to forgive ourselves, isn't it? That's a big lesson in itself. It seems easier to forgive others than it is to forgive ourselves. I've had to do a lot of that from this past year, forgiving myself for a lot of things from mine and my mom's past. So I've had a lot of work on that, and I still do. Yeah, that's an ongoing challenge, is to forgive ourselves. Yeah. Amy, it is lonely at times. Yeah. Lauren, really lonely, don't know how to fix it. Lauren, I would suggest start trying to connect with the divine through meditation. Take some quiet time or go into nature. Find out, ask divine guidance why you're experiencing this loneliness, why. Maybe there's a reason and you don't see it right now. Ask to clear your heart, realign yourself with divine guidance so you can start to see clearly and connect. When you allow your heart to open, you can connect with others. It's like a give and a take. And I don't necessarily mean like a romantic thing. I mean like a human connection. When you open your heart, you might have a block there that's just completely blocking you. You're protecting yourself. So see if you can do some deep soul searching, forgiveness of yourself, forgiveness of others who might have caused this, and work on your heart center to open it, to soften it, and see if that opens up some avenues for you. Hey, Ben. Hi, Lisa C. Yes, Lisa C., I know that you've mentioned that before, that you've lost your son, and it's got to be a very, 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 very difficult thing to deal with. I can't even imagine. I know we've kind of talked about this before too, but try and connect with him too. Try and connect with him. I truly believe on the other side is unconditional love. And I believe those who've crossed over are just that, unconditional love, and all is well. So try and connect with him, Lisa. And maybe if you're able to connect with him, maybe you will find the means to start to understand why things happened the way they did. Maybe understand how to resolve things within yourself to move on. That's a long-going process, I'm sure. It's not something to take lightly. It's something that probably will take some time. But it's that in itself is a huge learning experience of something that which you will have to discover on your, in your journey. Talk about it. I don't know. Have you talked about it with many? Have you, I don't know. Maybe we can chat more, just take it day by day. Yeah, it's a hard one. It's a hard one. It's a hard one. Melissa, love nature, animals, and crystals. Yes, absolutely. I think connecting to nature is a huge advantage. And a lot of times we forget that. Yeah, Eileen, I think putting ourselves in a bubble and a box is a protection mechanism to protect ourselves from getting hurt, from getting hurt further, I guess, if you will, because of past experiences, because we don't like that, what happened, we don't want to do that, we don't want to deal with it, whatever. But yeah, it's a protection mechanism, and when you put yourself in a box or a bubble or whatever, yeah. Oh, Amy, I love this group too. Trying to find your path. That too is something that's a whole nother discussion as well. I'll probably have to wrap this up pretty quickly here. But let me see what my phone's not gonna last much longer. But finding your path, your purpose, is something that I touch on a little bit too now and then. And ask the divine. Ask, what am I supposed to be doing with my life? Where am I supposed to go? You might get something just totally off the wall. And you might think, well, that's just silly. Well, what if it's not? I asked. I was thinking, when I first started my spiritual journey, I was like, what is my purpose? I know I'm not meant to be in an office and a secretary all my life. I've done that so many years. I know I'm not meant to do that. What is it? And crystals kept coming to me in the most unusual ways. And I was like, it got my attention. I'm thinking, what the heck am I going to do with the crystal? Okay. That's how I reacted. I was like, well, I like them, but where is it going to take me? Look at that. Now I'm here. It's all built on itself. So ask. That's for any of you. If you're not sure what your soul purpose is, ask. And when you get an answer or an indication or something, don't discard it as being silly. Look into it. See where it goes. See where it goes. Eileen, am I okay? Yeah, I'm great. Thank you for asking. You missed the start? Yeah, I was talking about my whole transition period last year, so go back and watch. Yeah, catch up on that. Yeah. Go back and watch. See, this group is awesome, sending love and light to each other, and I love that. I love that. Rachel, yes. If you can't love yourself, you can't expect anyone else to love the real you. Yeah, I love how you put that. That's beautiful. That's true. Loving ourselves is a whole nother lesson. It took me a while to learn that too. It took me a while to love myself and to truly be okay with myself. I mean, I was critical with myself too. You know, all the extra pounds, the lines, the hair is not always, all of that stuff we all go through. Now, I look in the mirror and, I do my mirror work and I'm appreciative of myself. I love myself. I look at myself in a different light. That's a whole different thing. If you can get Louise Hay's book, Mirror Work, I suggest you try that because that will help you love yourself. It's an exercise on how to help you love yourself, and that's how I did it. That's how I did it, yeah. We're all a work in progress, absolutely. We are all a work in progress. I don't think I'm nuts. Okay. Oh my goodness. Oh, so far here. Don't second guess it. That's right. I agree with that, Ron. Don't second guess it. Yes, if you're given an indication and a path to follow, see where it takes you. You might be surprised and you might love it. It might open your eyes. It might, I don't know. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay. That's where you are, Magda? Drawn to crystals so much? Yeah. Yeah. I know that's when I asked my journey. Crystals kept coming up. And so I followed it. And it brought me to be a crystal healer. I never even knew what that was. So it brought me to that. It brought me to other healing modalities. It brought me to connection with all of you. It brought me to teaching. It brought me to, learning more and more. I know this is not the end, though. There's more to it. There's more. It always builds on itself. So you might have a direction that you're given, a path, but don't be surprised if you have more layers, and it just builds and builds and builds. Oh, Rachel, you were lonely and then you found me in this group. I know we have created. That's why I say I can't claim that I created this group. I didn't. The divine brought us all together, and it's for a reason. And we needed each other for various ways. It's hard to even explain. It's grander than me alone. It's grander than us alone. It's a big, big picture. It's a big plan, part of the plan. It's a big part of the plan that we're all here together and growing and connecting with each other. And yeah. So I will leave it at that today. Thank you for this awesome discussion. Thank you for listening to what I had to say. And we'll pick it up again probably the week after next. More talk on this. I have been hesitant to talk about this kind of thing for a long time. And I was finally prompted to. And now it seems as though it's been very much needed. And I want to bring this out again too. If you have not read this, check it out. Many Lives, Many Masters, and let me know what you think. Please post in our group, Crystalline Sage, what you think of the book. And those of you who are new here too, please go join the group. I'll go approve your, access, whatever. But check this out. Many Lives, Many Masters. And this is Dr. Brian Weiss, a medical doctor, clinical psychiatrist. He's a psychiatrist. And his experience with, in the beginning, with his patients, with tapping into past lives. I recommend it. And I would love to know what you all think about it. and I would love to have like a little book discussion on it if you've read it. And I'm still pondering making a group for a book reading group, but I'm not sure I'm there yet. So check that out. Check it out. And please go into the group and post your thoughts on any of this. Just go post your thoughts on any of this and start the discussions. And there's no right or wrong, you know. We're all learning together. We're all learning together. So thank you all so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Crystal blessings, abundant blessings. May you take this today and I don't know, see what happens. And yeah, I will post the one from before here on the thread as soon as I'm finished. The one a few weeks ago on this chat. And many blessings to each and every one of you. And don't forget, you know, yesterday I posted that I hope that each of you get unexpected surprises during the week. I continue that. I hope that you all get unexpected surprises. And who knows what it can be in the form of, but may you all receive an unexpected surprise today and every day this week. And hopefully it'll bring a smile to your face. And yeah, it's pretty amazing. Love and light, many blessings, and I will see you soon. What is today? Today's Tuesday. Thursday is Crystal Sale Day. Next week I have a $5 box sale again, but next week also I'll be interviewed by Allie McGuire, Maurer. I don't know why I got her name wrong. I will post the link for that as soon as she gets that ready. And so please join us for that interview. I'm excited about that. That was an unexpected surprise, so I'm really grateful for her reaching out to me. And we will continue our discussion, deep talks of past lives and soul purpose and soul plan, probably the week after next. Thanks again. I look forward to seeing you. And yes, please do go post some comments and thoughts about all this in the group. I'll see you soon. Crystal blessings. Bye.